What's up, everybody? It's your boy Romeo Johnson, and we're here at SANGAHZ the podcast. So as you know, this podcast is all about extraordinary singers and people who love extraordinary singers. Tonight, we're going to be talking about someone who is actually very special to me and my career. And when you say extraordinary singers, this is one of those people that we call singer's singer. You may know him most for the Temptations hit song, Treat Her Like a Lady. And I want to just talk about Mr. Ali Woodson. Oh my gosh. Every singer loves Ali Woodson's voice. Unfortunately, we lost Ali years ago, 2010. But I want to tell you just what he meant to me in my career. When you hear people talk about mentors and how everyone needs a mentor, whether you're doing real estate or whether you're doing motivational speaking or whatever it is, everyone needs a mentor. And this guy was absolutely my mentor. So we're going to get into talking about Mr. Ali Woodson, and I'll see you in a second. Thank you for tuning in to SANGAHZ the podcast with me, Romeo Johnson, where we celebrate extraordinary singers and learn from industry veterans. Mr. Ali Woodson. And I say it twice like that because he was born Ali, O-L-L-I-E, and then later on he changed his name to Ali, which is A-L-I, Woodson. As you guys probably have heard me say, I was born and raised in Chattanooga, Tennessee. When I met Ali Woodson, I was probably maybe close to 20 years old. I was in a band in Chattanooga. We used to perform at a club, a local club in Chattanooga called the Johari Lounge. Ali Woodson at the time had a band called the Ali Woodson Trio, and they were based in Atlanta. So the local bands, all the local bands in the Southeast would kind of go in and out and exchange. The circuit was basically Atlanta, Georgia, Nashville, Tennessee, Knoxville, Tennessee, Chattanooga, Memphis, Birmingham, Alabama. Those were like the circuit that we would go through. Ali Woodson Trio used to come to the Johari Lounge. You know, he wasn't famous yet, but I remember going to see him perform. And this guy, he played drums. He's left-handed, so he played drums reversed and sang. Well, it was him. I think he had a bass player and a keyboard player. And oh my God, this guy was killing it. And he came one time to hear my band perform, and we just kind of clicked. Who knew that he would eventually become world famous and be the lead singer for the legendary Temptations? Well, let me tell you how the story goes with me and Ali Woodson. And before I even go into that, let's just talk about Ali Woodson. So Ali was born in Detroit, Michigan. I talked to him about his upbringing as much as I could because we became very close. He was literally like my big brother, and he was my mentor for like 28 years, up until the time that he passed. So he moved around a lot. I know he said that he spent a lot of his time in Alabama, and he ended up joining the military, joined the Army. After he got out of the Army, he decided he was going to pursue music as a career. Of course, about the time that I saw him, he had already gotten into that mode of being a performer, playing drums and singing and writing. Hey everybody, how you doing? I want to take a quick second just to say, as much as I love a great documentary, I do want to make a point to say this Ali Woodson episode is by no means a documentary. This is just me sharing my experiences with my friend and my mentor. And I know he's a lot of you guys' friends and mentor as well. So please feel free to chime in, leave comments, inbox me. I'm thinking about doing some sort of group video chat where we can all just chime in and talk about Ali Woodson, all of us who had the pleasure of experiencing working with him. In addition to that, I want to say please be sure to get your copy of Following the Voice by Romeo Johnson. You can find this at Amazon. You can also get it from romeojohnson.com. Please follow me, subscribe to Romeo Johnson TV on YouTube. Of course, follow me on Instagram, official Romeo J, and SANGAHZmerch.com. The site's been up for a while. A lot of you guys are already wearing the clothes and have been wearing SANGAHZ gear for 10 years. But I have a whole fresh new line coming up. So go check out the site now, probably some point in November. I'm going to start dropping a whole lot of new stuff. Thank you guys so much for everything. Thanks for hopefully joining the SANGAHZ podcast family. Please listen to me at whatever your podcast platform is. Or, of course, if you want to see the visual, Romeo Johnson TV on YouTube. Thank you guys so much. Back to Ali Woodson. Peace. And so, like I said, I met him in Chattanooga, Tennessee. He was based in Atlanta, Georgia. Everyone was just so impressed with his tone, his versatility, his range. He had a raspiness to his voice that he could sing very hard and gritty, and he could sing sweet. He always said, I wish I could sing sweet like you. You got a clear voice. I got a raspy voice. But he had a way of sometimes singing soft, and the raspiness was still beautiful. And then he had this falsetto that was just absolutely unheard of. But it was his phrasing. Something about the phrasing that drummers, anytime a drummer is a singer, the phrasings that they use are usually ridiculous. From Stokely, from Mint Condition, Jeffrey Osborne, my friend Donnell Spencer, just drummers who sing. They have a phrasing and a pocket to the way that they sing. And Ali was extraordinary with that. So we lost touch for a second, just doing our thing. He was working with his band in Atlanta. I was working with my group in Chattanooga, trying to figure out exactly what I was going to do. And so I remember once talking to Ali, and he said to me, the Temptations were going to be coming to Atlanta. And he said, I think I might be getting a shot at joining the group. That didn't surprise me. To be honest with you, as soon as he told me, my response was, oh, you'll get it. Because I'd heard him perform songs by the Temptations, and whatever he sang, he killed it. So, he had this raspy speaking voice, and I used to always imitate him. And he would always release this air at the end of his sentence. It was always a release of air. So every time he would talk to me, it was like, oh, look at him. This is what I want us to do. And it was always that. This is what I want us to do. We're going to go over to this club over here first. We're going to turn that mother out. Let's go turn that thing out. And then when we finish that, I want to shoot over here to this other club. Now, they open a little later. We're going to do that. And we're going to turn that thing out. And I want you to go with me. So you want to meet me there, or you want to come to the house and ride with me? That was the Ali Woodson conversation on a regular. Now, of course, this was fast forward when we were in Los Angeles that this conversation was happening. But just to give you an idea of how he's talking. So he hits me up and he says, hey, Romeo, look here. I think I might be getting a shot at singing with the Temptations. They're going to come in Atlanta. And from what I understand, they're having some problems with Dennis. So they'll give me a shot. I'm gonna try to test Romeo. I said, oh, you'll get it. You get it. Trust me. Who's going to kill it like you kill it? Hey, boy, you pray for me. Next thing I know, I get the call. I got the job. Of course you got the job, right? So he joins the group, and I'm seeing my friend on television. And I'm seeing him with the Temptations, and he is literally, in my opinion, bringing the Temptations back to life. When he joined and Treat Her Like a Lady came out, it was like the Temptations had a whole new energy. Man, that song was a huge song. Everyone loved it. And so I was still living in Chattanooga at the time. And when I went to Los Angeles, when I finally moved to Los Angeles, I was there trying to figure out what in the world am I going to do? I don't really know anybody here. I don't know the city yet, and I don't know the business yet. So I'm green and I'm trying to figure this thing out. Well, I ended up running into my homeboy. Again, you guys heard me mention Sam Sims. We ended up running into each other, literally bumping into each other at the Guitar Center. And we were like, what are you doing here? What are you doing here? I live here. I moved here too. Okay, cool. So he said, man, I'm doing a gig at this club called the Golden Tail with Ali Woodson. I was like, what? Well, by this time, Ali was doing solo gigs as well when he wasn't on the road with the Temptations. And he'd asked Sam to play bass for him. So I'm like, of course I'll be there. So that weekend I went to see Sam and Ali play. Of course, when he saw me, Romeo, what you doing here? You moved here to, y'all just bringing all the Chattanooga up in L.A. So we end up laughing, kicking it, hanging out, talking, and we exchanged numbers, our new numbers or whatever. And I get a call maybe a month later. Ali calls me and says, Sam can't do a gig. You want to play bass? At that time, you have to understand, he knew me as a bass player. I was playing bass with my band in Chattanooga, and I sang, but I don't really know if Ollie knew much about me as a singer. He knew me as a bass player. So he said, Sam, you can't make some gigs. He told me that I should call you. You want to come do some gigs with him? I'm like, absolutely. I meet his musical director at the time. Was a guy named Anthony Johnson, keyboard player. And so Anthony was helping me learn all the music that Ollie was doing in the way that Ollie does it. Now, let's talk about this. Ollie is very old school. So you have to understand, he is very, very particular about how his music is done. He does it in the way that only he does it. And he wants every single band member and singer to be on the same page. And he has no problems letting you know if he's not happy. And I'm keeping this as nice as I can. All the fellow musicians who are listening to this and knows Ollie, you're probably cracking up right now like, you're really making it sound nice. Well, I go and, mind you, we're already friends. So I'm learning all these songs. He was playing a lot of songs I didn't know. Anthony was teaching me the songs, and I'm I'm doing well on the ones that I know. Some of them I wasn't that familiar with, and and I'm like, okay, I'm holding it down, but I know I ain't doing it the way that he really wants it done, right? So we're playing, and he's like, you got that part now. You don't forget right there. You got to go to the, and then you got to do the, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, I got you. I'll practice. So after about 2-3 weeks, he was like, yeah, you feeling good now. Now you're getting it now. Well, as soon as I get in the pocket, as soon as I start feeling really good about playing the bass parts to his song, there were 2 ladies singing background for him. He was on them so tough, and they just weren't cutting it. They weren't getting the parts. Now, I've been singing all of my life. I've always heard harmonies, and I saw this one lady really struggling with this part, and Ollie doesn't play. So he literally says to her, and this had to have been 1987, or as the old people say, 1987. So he tells this lady, I'll never forget, her name was Melinda Chapman, rest her soul, she's gone now. She was struggling with this part, and I could see it was really getting under her skin because she wanted to get it right. And Ollie says to her, you have one more time to mess up on this part, and I'm calling somebody else. I don't have time for this. You supposed to call yourself a singer. You should be knowing the parts. Well, you changed the key. And he went off. Look at, I don't care what key I'm in. You supposed to know by whatever key I am, what note you in, the interval. You should know the relative. Listen, learn your part. I ain't got time for this now. Mess up one more time and see when I call somebody else. So she's about to cry. And I go over to her and I said, listen, relax. Here's the part. Here's how to think of it. So I showed her how to hear the interval from one note to another. So Ollie comes in and he sees me explain it to her. He just sits and kind of watches it for a minute. She struggled with it for a second. She started to catch it. He said, Romeo, you sing too, don't you? I forgot about that. Get a microphone. Somebody get a mic stand and a mic. Put a mic in front of him. So I'm like, wait, what? I'm like, I'm just getting really comfortable with these bass parts. Let me hear you sing. So we start playing the songs. I'm singing the harmonies that he's giving me. He turns with this big smile. He goes, yeah, you sing it from now on. So I do a gig with him playing bass and singing. There's this thing that Ollie is known for, this falsetto lick and falsetto riffs that Ollie is known for. And I would do the harmonies with him because I loved harmonies, and it was high. And I thought, I'm going to do a harmony with him just for the fun of it at rehearsal. So I do the harmony, and he turns and looks at me and gives me this big thumbs up. He says, do that every time. So that became a thing where we would do these high harmonies. And eventually he says, man, look here, I want you to just sing, period. I want you to be my singer. I'll get another bass player. I'm like, okay, thank you. It's a nice way of firing me and hiring me at the same time. but it worked out just fine because it was a vocal chemistry that we had that was unmatched. And then we became super close. Like, we hung out in LA almost every day, and we would go and perform at these clubs. And he would pull me up to do those little harmony things. And then every now and then he would, have me sing a bridge to a song, or he would just say, do your thing. And that's kind of honestly how most of the people, a lot of the people in LA were introduced to who Romeo Johnson was. Now, let me tell you why that's significant. As I said before, Ali Woodson is what you call a singer's singer. And what I mean by that is everyone loved him. I don't care if Ali was singing at Madison Square Garden with the Temptations, or if he was singing at a little club in the corner of some back street in LA. You may see Stevie Wonder in the audience. You may see Shaka Khan in the audience. You may see Aretha Franklin. You may see anybody. Everybody came out to hear Ali because he didn't just sing his face off. He was a great entertainer as well. And I learned so much from this guy. So that was what we were doing for a while. Like I said, every week or twice a week, I was getting a call. What you doing? Look at it, they got a little jam session they gonna do it with there. Let's go over there and turn that thing out. You gonna meet me there? You gonna come to the house and ride with me? So that was a routine. Well, we were singing at this one club one night, and there was a guy sitting in the audience, and I could tell he was a singer by his response. He responded to every vocal thing that we did. I knew he was a singer. He appreciated what we were doing. And after the show, this guy introduced himself, and that one guy ended up introducing me to probably 12 people in the LA music scene. And from his introduction to a number of people in the music scene, that led to every single thing that happened in my whole 30-year career. And I'm not going to say who this guy's name is because he's going to be on the next episode. I will be interviewing him on the next episode, and I want you guys to tune in because this guy's an incredible singer, songwriter, and we get to talk to him. Back to Mr. Ali Woodson. So we started to have a ball. We created a routine, Ali and I, and Ali loved to sing. We used to make fun of Ali and say, dude, you'll sing anywhere there's a microphone at a drop of a dime. It was kind of crazy because so many people were trying to tell him at the time, you can't just sing everywhere all the time because it takes the value away. If he wants to go somewhere and be paid, everybody's going to go, I'll just wait and see him next week at the club. And I remember he had a lady that was managing him for a while. Her name was Vonnie Sweeney. She was a really, really sweet lady. And she managed him. They were super close. She did great things for his career. Again, so many people that were so significant in my career upcoming and learning, have gone on. But Vonnie would talk to me a lot, and she told me, at this point, Ali had gotten pretty badly involved with drugs, and it was starting to become very detrimental. He was still with the Temptations, so he was starting to have issues with his job and all, drugs doing what drugs do. I would talk to Ali sometimes, and he would say to me, I really want to get off this shit, but I can't. It's not easy. It's not easy. But I like hanging around with you because you don't do none of this. And when I'm with you, it makes it easy for me not to do it. I was really young. I was young and I was still green. And it was so powerful for me to hear someone who I looked up to, and so many people in the world looked up to hear him say, in a way, you help me, you hold me accountable, and I don't want to do wrong things. Whether he felt like he was going to influence me or whether he felt like I would just hold him accountable, I didn't know. But I do know that I was grateful to God, and I was like, you know what, I thank God that he put whatever that thing was on me that made people see it and respond to it. And I got that through the years from multiple people. But I remember Vonnie Sweeney calling me one day, and she said, baby, I just want to tell you, we're really worried about Ali. Sometimes he disappears for 2 or 3 days, and we don't know where he is. And of course, we're panicking, and we're worried that he's going to, we're going to get a bad call one day. He always comes back in and he'll tell us, where he's been and what he's been doing. And it just got to a point where we were panicked. She said, now remember, one day we called him and he answered the phone and we were like, where are you? Where are you? We're worried about you. We haven't heard from you all day. And we were starting to panic. And he said, you don't have to worry about it. I'm with Romeo. She said, baby, I don't know if you understand. You're a blessing. Because when you're with him, he doesn't want to do anything. She said, so the moment that he tells us that he's with you, it gives us a peace. She said he sees you like a little brother, and he's very protective over you. So he knows if he wants to give us a calm spirit, he'll let us know Romeo's with me. I just took that to heart, and it meant a lot to me. And we were close. You know, Ali was close to my mom. I mean, he would come to Chattanooga and come to the house and hang out with my mom and my dad, and he was family, you know. So again, you know, we would have talks and we would talk about, you know, the drugs and this and the other. But I didn't understand at that time how potent drug addiction was. I started to see him lose weight drastically. I mean, he was already a slim guy. But I remember at one point he was losing weight so much that he had to add holes in his belt, and you see him and go to give him a hug and you feel his ribs, and I was like, yo, man, you know, again, I was young and I looked up to him, so it was only a certain way that I was going to speak to him. But I remember saying, hey, man, you're getting too small, bro. You're getting too skinny. I feel your ribs, man. And we laughed it off. And these things that I'm telling you guys about, there are musicians all over Los Angeles who has worked with Ali and loves him, and they know of these times and know of these, you know, these incidences. But what I want to say is, at no point did it ever affect his performance, ever. I remember being with Ali in the limousine, and we were going to do a performance. And we were so concerned because he was just like passed out. And when we were trying to wake him up, like, hey, we're almost there, we're almost there, he barely would talk. You know, he was like we couldn't wake him up. And we were like, this is bad. This is bad. We get to the venue. He gets out of the car. People kind of like putting, you know, his arm around their shoulders, walking him in. And we're thinking, man, this is bad. How is this going to go down, you know? We would walk into the dressing room and boom, he plopped down. And so everyone's like, should we cancel it? Should we just tell them he's not feeling well or something? I don't know what you hear. Don't y'all cancel it. Don't cancel nothing. Of course, I'm leaving out the spicy words that he would use, but don't y'all cancel nothing. It was like, bro, you can barely stand up. Like, what's going on? You gonna be okay? Man, let me tell you, his brother will get himself together, and we're like, you're struggling, bro. You good? We go on that stage, and once that doggone count off happens, as soon as he hears 1, 2, 3, I don't know what happens. It's like, I don't know how to explain it. He snaps completely out of it, and he's 100% in performance mode. Killing every note. All of his energy is there. Dancing, interacting with the audience, cracking jokes. It was the most amazing thing I'd ever seen. And we're like, what? So we're doing our job and we're doing our thing. And then at the end of it, I love y'all. Good night. Love you. Good night. And then he go back in the dressing room. He's like out of it. And I'm like, wait a minute, bro. How did you do that? Bro, are you okay? I'm all right. I'm like, bro, you just did a whole show. How are you back in? But hello. So performing was so a part of him. As soon as he heard that count off, he was in it. It was amazing. Sad. It was sad because I can't explain to you what it's like to see people that you love get caught up in any type of addiction, you know, or sickness or whatever. But thank God he snapped out of it. Now let's talk about that. So clearly Ali had charisma. He had tall, slender build. He looked great in all his clothes. Sings his face off. Great performer. Needless to say, brother had his choice of honeys. You know, he had beautiful women that were crazy about him in every aspect. Because again, he was a handsome guy. He sang his face off. His fashion was on point. And then he was the nicest guy. Ali would give you the shirt off his back. I've seen Ali multiple times just for whatever reason after a show and we all get paid, or even during the middle of the week when it's not even a performance. There are times that I know for a fact that Anthony can vouch for me. A few band members from Ali's band will vouch for me and say that, you know, sometimes just randomly he'll call people in the middle of the week. How y'all doing? Are you everything straight? You good? Come over to the house. I got something for you. Okay. You go over to his house and he's like, here, it's like $500. What's this for? Just take it in case you need it. That was Ali. I'm talking about genuinely a wonderful guy. Very caring, very funny, very loving, very protective. So you can imagine, with all the talent, with the charisma, with the looks, and then just being a great guy, they were coming at him. I mean, they were coming at him. Every ethnicity, you name it. There was a time that he was dating Jackie Harry from 227, and she would come to a lot of our shows. They looked great together. It was a beautiful couple. A lot of times women didn't know that they were a couple. Sometimes they did. And they flirted anyway. So that was interesting to watch. I remember he had a red Maserati. And this had to have been, again, this was like 88, 89. It was like around that era. And I was like, what kind of car is that, Ollie? He's like, Maserati. It's a Maserati. I said, that's nice, man. Yeah, Jackie bought it for me. I said, Jackie bought it for you? Yeah, got it for a gift. I was like, well, go with your bad self, right? I remember that he had so many women coming at him. And like most of us, he loved women and they loved him. Everything that came along with being a star and having charisma and being a lead singer, I saw all of that. And here we would talk about things in the business because I didn't know the business that much. And I would ask him, and he was so kind to share with me. And sometimes he would share things with me, and I knew that he really cared about me because I would do certain things on stage if I was doing a solo performance, which, by the way, he set me up with my first show, some show he couldn't make. And he told the club, I can't make it. So he was like, well, who can we get? He said, just let Romeo and the band do it. Let the band do it and let Romeo do all the leads. That was my first solo show in LA because of him. It started me on my way. But I remember I would do certain things and he would come to me and just break it down for me. Don't ever do that. That's not good. That doesn't look respectful to the audience. So make sure you don't ever do that. Always do this way. Always do that way. Don't ever let me see you do that again. And I was like, this brother is really looking out for me. And I appreciated it. So when I think about nowadays, again, I'm 60 years old now. At the time I was working with Ali, I was my early 20s, you know, and it's just amazing to see over the years how things have changed. We so appreciated being corrected. We appreciated being corrected by those people we looked up to. There's just a certain reverence that they automatically got. That's missing these days. You know, now it's like I see young kids, they're talking to legends and veterans as if they're on the same plane. You know what I'm saying? And I talk about this all the time. You know, Patrice Rushen is like one of my heroes. She's like my big sister. We've been knowing each other for as long as we're very close, but she's still my hero. So when she speaks, I still feel like the 15-year-old. I'm not sitting there trying to compare my stories with her stories. I'm not cutting her off, trying to interject my version of the story she's telling. I want to hear. And so things have changed in that area. And Ali was one of those people who came up, of course, before me. So at that time, communication was so different. Ali would tell people in a minute, just get off the keyboard. In the middle of a show. I saw him throw a towel in a drummer's face because he told the drummer, he said, listen, it's real simple. This is all I want. I want big intros with big cymbals and rides. And then when the verse starts, I want rim shots. When the chorus comes, I want snare drums. When the vamp comes, I want it big again with big cymbals and rides. That's all I want. It was hard to be a drummer for Ali, I'm sure, because he was such a drummer. But he's like, if you just give me those things, that's all I want. We're on stage one night, we're jamming, crowd is full. I felt so bad. I never forget this. The drummer's wife and his mother-in-law was in the audience. And he was just jamming. Ali was singing this song. And the intro, he's playing the intro big, just like Ali said. And Ali went into the verse. And this brother was still cracking that dang snare. He didn't go to the rim shot. So Ali gives him the signal to break down for the verse. My man still, God, God, God. I'm like, oh, Lord. So Ali turns, looks at him, puts his hands down like, hey, you know, break it down. Dude was grooving so hard he wasn't looking. And Ali had a towel around his neck that he had been wiping his sweat on all night. And he turned around and threw, I don't mean like toss, I'm talking about threw like a baseball pitcher, threw the towel in the guy's face while he was playing. And all of a sudden you just, we were like, oh my God. Dude looked at him. Ali said, what'd I tell you to do? This is in the middle of the show. Didn't I tell you? He reprimands him in front of the audience. And then he turns back around and finishes singing. You know, it was nothing for him to be killing. I mean, absolutely slaying a song. Put the mic down, lean over, cuss the keyboard player out, tell him what chord he's playing wrong, and go back to the mic singing like he hadn't said a thing. This is old school stuff. You know, I've seen Ali tell a musician a correction. The musician makes the mistake again. He says, you got one more time. If the musician makes the mistake one more time, he says nothing. So the musician is thinking, he didn't hear that. I got by. Ali would pull out this black book. It was a black phone book. And he would just call another guitar player or whatever that instrument is. He just called. And then we're still in the rehearsal. We're going through the rehearsal. And like 45 minutes, another guitar player is walking in with his amp and his guitar. And then Ali just turns to the guy and goes, you can leave. You can leave now. I've seen it multiple times. So I came up under No Nonsense. And it was amazing. Honestly, I loved it. I'm not going to lie. I love those days when people just made sure you were right and didn't sugarcoat and didn't pamper too much. You know, it's like, this is what you're doing. This is what you want to pursue. Let's see how serious you are about it. So I wanted to go back to the point where I was talking about how Ali was dealing with this drug issue. And he was telling me, he said, man, this thing is hard. I want to stop, but it's hard. It's hard to kick it. And then Ali came to me one day and he said, Romeo, I think I met the one. So I'm like, the one what? He said, I met this lady, this young lady I've been seeing. He said, man, he said, she's beautiful, but it ain't just that. He said, I think she's the one. I said, yeah. I said, what's her name? And Ali was so dramatic, he would say the whole name. Juanita Brown. I said, okay. You're going to meet her. She's going to come to the show. We do the next show. This lady walks in. Beautiful lady. And the most beautiful thing about it was I immediately saw the genuine love and concern for him from her. It was different. You know, every woman wanted to be around him. Every woman wanted to be with him. Every woman wanted other women to know. I know him. We close. We friends. I'm with him. Whatever. It was different when I saw Juanita for the first time. And of course, physically, I saw exactly. I'm like, I get it. I already see what you like. I saw that, right? But it was in the energy that I saw. Oh, snap. I see. It's a love thing, but it's not like I'm in awe of you. It's like I'm in love with you. And so I said, I see it, man. And remember, I'm still pretty young, but I was married at the time. So I wasn't like a kid. I was married with a kid. So I said to him, I said, I see what you're talking about. He said, man, what you think? I said, well, I don't really know her. I haven't really met her, but from what I can see, man, it's a beautiful energy. I think she the one. Romeo, I think she the one. They continued to see each other, and I started to see him change. I noticed when we would go places, he stopped flirting. Right? He wouldn't flirt as much. Now, he would flirt a little bit, but he wouldn't flirt as much. Or he would kind of respond to people flirting with him or whatever. But I was like, oh, he's changing a little bit. And one night he came to me and he said, Romeo, I'm about to stop the drugs. I'm going to quit. If I got to quit cold turkey, I'm about to quit. I said, oh, yeah? Yep, I'm about to quit. I said, well, good, man. What made you make the decision? Juanita said, it's either her or the drugs. And if I keep on, I'm going to lose her. I'm not about to lose her. She is the one. Romeo, she the one. I said, okay. So you gonna stop the drugs? I have to. And my man stopped the freaking drugs. When I tell you, I said, look at the power of Juanita Brown. He stopped. And thank God they stayed together and they married and they had 2 beautiful children. It was amazing to watch my man. Everything changed around. He got his weight back, everything. His finances got better again. He was the Ali Woodson that I knew. Just completely full of joy, still blessing everybody, still wonderful. And, I remember he would always tell me how proud he was of me because of the tours and the things that I was doing. And I told him, and I wasn't joking, I say this all the time, the majority of everything that I do, I learned from him. And I remember when he told me he was sick, he wouldn't tell me for the longest time what he was sick with, but I assumed it was cancer. And I think he beat it once and it came back again. It was hard. It was hard to start to see him slowly change, where he would come sometimes to see me perform places, and I would say, Ollie, man, what's up, man? It's good to see you. And he said, it's good to be seen. He didn't tell me, but I could tell that he knew. I don't know if they had given him like a time frame, but I could tell that he knew it wasn't going to be much longer. I saw it in his energy. So, we just loved on him as much as we could, and everyone just admired him for the person he was, for the musician that he was, the singer that he was. And again, he was a singer's singer. When we would perform, some of my favorite songs he would do, obviously, Treat Her Like a Lady. There was a song by The Temptations called To Be Continued. One of the most beautiful songs. I love that song. He would always do Donny Hathaway songs. So he would do a song for you. What else? He would always do Everything Must Change. And the way that he would do his songs, he would put such a twist on them, very much like Luther Vandross. When Ali would do his songs, it's Ali Woodson. He would do Distant Lover by Marvin Gaye. Amazing. Before I Let Go. There were certain songs that I just remember jamming with him, and we just had so much fun. He was my mentor. I learned more from him than anybody. When he passed away in 2010, I remember that morning waking up. I remember driving from Sherman Oaks to Gardena, and it was just the hardest drive. And I was supposed to go pick Vesta Williams up. Vesta asked me, she said, will you please come pick me up? I want to go with you. And I got up that morning, and it was just, that feeling you have in your gut when you're going to a funeral to someone that you love. And my stomach was sick, and I remember going on the 405, and I was going to go pick Vesta up. And she called me, and she said, babe, I can't do it. She said, I can't do it. I said, are you sure? She said, I can't. I don't want to see him like that. I want to see him. Last time I saw him, we were laughing. He was in the hospital, but we were laughing, and he was in good spirits, and I want to remember that. I can't do it. I can't do it. I said, okay, I understand. Investor said, listen, just let everybody know I'm sending my love, and you being there is like representing me. Everybody knows how close we are, so just go represent me, baby. I got there, and man, I totally understood that feeling once I got there, because I couldn't push myself to go view the body. I saw his wife, I saw his kids, I saw Magic Johnson, I saw Howard Hewitt, all of his friends. Nate Evans, one of his fellow vocalists from the Impressions and the Temptations. And it was just hard to see everybody taking it so hard. I was watching people from afar going to view the body, and I was like, I can't do it. I can't do it. I want to do it, but I can't do it. My friend Tracy Nelson, she's like, Romeo, you have to. You have to. If you don't, you're not going to have closure. I was like, I can't. She said, come on, I'll go with you. Tracy Nelson, also Skylar Jordan, they really went with me and supported me. It was tough. And then it wasn't long after that I lost Vesta. So yeah, it was a hard time. But what I do want to say and do want to reiterate, there will never be another voice like Ali Woodson. And I wish I could play music here. I wish I could play his songs for you guys, but go look him up. If you're not familiar with his music, go look him up, Ali Woodson. And for all of us who know him, who loved him, who has worked with him, you know, let's just pull him up and just celebrate him for a while, because he blessed so many of us. And I just wanted to take this episode to honor him, because in all of the unsung episodes, I just can't believe they never covered Ali Woodson. But I want to take this time as his personal buddy, friend, mentee, to bring attention to the incredible singer and the amazing father and husband and person and friend and brother that he was. So, SANGAHZ, shout out to Ali Woodson. God bless you, bro. Thank you for tuning in to SANGAHZ the podcast with me, Romeo Johnson, where we celebrate extraordinary singers and learn from industry veterans.